friends, welcome to a tradition unlike any other.
We got to have a better one than that. It's all I could find on the internet in last
it's like
minute.
through a xylophone or something.
Yeah.
We need a little natural voice there.
Masters on the range. Can already hear people turning the radio. Golf talk. Here we go.
I think they're turning it on.
Well, tell me
we're
this.
Turning them on.
It's a weird thing. A lot of people, and by people I mean a lot of men, not that women don't, but a lot of men love to proclaim, oh, the Masters, it's Masters week. Oh, Masters are here. The pools are flowing. People are picking. What A, B, C, D region. Who's going to win? The live guys are over. And then you also hear people, two things I hate to hear on radio, betting and golf. And I'm like, so we talk about it, but we don't want to talk about it. We're watching it, but we don't want to talk about watching it. You give me Mr. Masters Man.
What do you got?
I'm going to call you that the rest of the week. Mr. Masters Man.
Okay.
What are your top 3 storylines going into Augusta? What are the things that you, Grip City Golf podcast host, Golf in the Northwest, you can chime in as well. What are your top 3 storylines for people that have not watched a single PGA event this year?
Which there is a lot of them because the ratings are down across the board.
I will be one of them. I have caught just a little bit of stuff, not much.
Yeah, a little bit here or there.
With the players. I caught the players.
Sure.
The final round of that is always great.
You probably watched
thrilling.
Little Waste Management. That's one that a lot
No,
of people
I didn't.
No.
They turned me off on it.
Oh, too rowdy.
Dude, it's gross.
Yeah.
It got too white trashy this year. I'm out. I can't do that.
They even said, we need to reconnoiter on this. And
I don't need to see a fat guy rolling in mud again. I can only watch that so many. It's not funny, and it's like that man has an addiction. That's what this is.
This is a problem here, and we should probably get this guy some therapy.
Yes.
I think the biggest storyline in the state of golf right now is just how much flux the game is in. And I think you've seen comments that indicate this recently. Like John Rahm did an interview this week where he essentially insinuated that he thought he was a powerful enough figure that his move to live would unify the game of golf.
No, he did.
Like he gave a quote basically saying I have built myself into this level of player. I'm one of the faces of the sport. I knew that we would be on rocky ground for a while, but I thought me leaving would kind of, oh my God, John Rahm left. We can't lose John Rahm. We got to do something. We got to do it now.
Jeez.
And he is already starting to push back against the way Live Golf is set up because he hates playing 3-day tournaments. There's no fans there. He's in shorts. Like he's a guy who loves to compete and loves to take it seriously. And I think there's a lot of regret there. I think you're seeing a lot of comments from other Live players, Bryson and Phil and some others, who are starting to drive home this narrative of unifying the game because they're realizing that nobody cares about their tour. The only boost in ratings that they've had is when Anthony Kim came back and everybody wanted to know what happened to his nose and how many drugs he did. Wow. That gave them a ratings boost in the short term of like, oh my God. Now they have a dude who acknowledged he just picked up a club 3 months ago playing on their tour who's like a 7 handicap
he
shooting
shot like
82s.
an 88 or
like
something.
it's not a serious thing.
It's not a serious thing.
So these people are realizing like there's just not interest there, and the PGA Tour is hemorrhaging viewers every single week. It's not good. And I think that is still the biggest storyline and will be until we get some sort of conclusion. Not that you're going to get answers on it this weekend, but this is the first time now this year that we've seen everybody come together. And will it return eyeballs? Or have that many people soured on the sport to the point where it's like, I'm just not, like, to your point, I know you're going to watch this weekend because it's the Masters, but there's a lot of folks out there that are maybe just like, I'm not watching golf anymore. I'm tired of the money talk. I'm tired of the Saudi stuff. I'm kind of unplugging, and that's not a good sign for you long term.
I'll let you go here, Swygard. You're missing a lot of big names on the tour, so like the competition, you have to learn new names.
Yes.
And be familiar with some of the other golfers that aren't Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, John Rahm. The Midas or the ego that John Rahm has to have, that's a dude that has a mirror somewhere where only he can see himself at night. Because if Phil doesn't make people care, why would you think you're going to make people care?
Yeah, Brooks had 4 majors, I think, when he left to go to Live.
That is unbelievable.
DJ is as big a name as we've seen.
To think that you're going to change the entire landscape because you're John Rahm. I love John Rahm. What a stupid quote.
Yeah.
I wonder how much more support, how much longer Jay Monahan has to get something done. I also don't think the Live guys realize that if they're going to unify and all of these groups, business entities, monies are going to come together, if the U.S. Department of Justice wants to get involved for antitrust reasons, and they demand that representatives from the PIF and the Saudi government or royal family testify before a Senate committee, that's never going to happen. And this thing might be in limbo. I think John Rahm, I think a lot of those guys were like, look, we're going to take the bag of money. We're going to force the PGA Tour's hand. Monahan's going to have to succumb. They're going to have to figure this out. And within a couple of years, we'll all be back together. And maybe we'll have some different sort of thing that Live becomes that will be an offshoot. So we can play the competitive stuff, but we can have something fun to do that's some guaranteed money, and it's not the ringer that competitive golf is every single week in, week out. And I think this whole thing might backfire. I think they might be stuck for longer, and they're all starting to realize, and the players are all starting to realize, if we don't fix this now, we have the potential to really lose our fan base in the next couple of years.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of regret. I feel like anybody that goes to Live of note, you just end up hearing a quote, other than DJ, who just doesn't care about anything in life.
No.
Everybody seems to have a bit of like, damn it, kind of wish I didn't do it. And you just go back, you wish you didn't become, hey, I'm going to take the $100 million, and it's $100 million, but here you go. This is what it's going to be now. I gave you guys free reign to talk about anything Masters related, and what I got was kind of the same things, and I think that's the nature of the sport. It's a less than popular sport than college football, and you're giving me the same conversation, and I don't mean any disrespect to you two, but like I just don't care anymore. All of this stuff is hypothetical. It doesn't feel like it's close to working itself out. There's too much money involved in Live. I know it's a presidential election, but like the Saudi back stuff is going to have a favorite in the election, and what that means going forward after November. So like all of that stuff, I went through it in college football, still kind of going through it.
It's the same thing in golf right now.
You bring up golf, and I'm just kind of like, I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Yeah.
And it's the Masters.
It's the Masters, and so by Thursday when they have the ceremonial teeing off, and we'll all get lost in the Masters for the weekend, and you hope it'll be interesting to see.
I think if some of these Live guys are competing, I don't think you will get lost. It'll just become
there's
more
only
of the
13 of them, and most of them are the big names. So
John Rahm in contention with Scheffler. What do you think the conversation is on Sunday?
That's what it was last year. It was Brooks versus John Rahm, and it was Live versus PGA Tour.
Yeah.
It doesn't go away, and I think that's why you're exactly right. Like, I'm a nerd and a psycho.
You love golf.
I love golf, and Peter Malnati winning and getting to his first Masters, that entices me as a fan. I understand that 99% of people disagree with me there.
Sure.
I was glued to watching Denny McCarthy make 6 straight birdies on Sunday and nearly chase down Batia, who was trying to get his invitation to the Masters by winning. That was a great playoff and an entertaining backstretch, but a lot of people don't care. Those are names that people don't know. The things that I think from a storyline from the golf angle that excite me the most, Rory will always be at the top of the list until he wins it. Every single year, the eyeballs will be on him at Augusta, and the pressure builds every year that he doesn't win. Scotty Scheffler is having such a good year that it is almost comparable to like peak Grand Slam Tiger. Like,
so, yeah,
the numbers are that good.
Yeah, Bob Herrig was on our buddy Ken Barkley's show yesterday on You Better You Bet. Scheffler's 4-1. He said quite literally, those are Tiger odds.
Yes.
Scotty in Vegas is being looked at as Tiger-esque right now.
If he putts, you can't beat him. That's the only question about Scotty Scheffler. He's such a good ball striker that it's one of those, like, you've got to put a bet on him, but it also feels like it's too obvious because he's so good, but that was the case 2 years ago when he won. So Scheffler being that dominant, I think, is a big storyline. And then I think the other question of, do we get somebody... There's a big category of golfers that have not won a major that are incredibly talented. And is one of those guys going to be able to break through? The guy that I like the most this week, who I put some money on, is Xander Schauffele. His numbers, like tee to green, are up there with, not quite in the same ballpark as Scotty, but really good. He's been in contention every year at Augusta. He's in the mix every year. And you just tell yourself, like, you keep giving yourself chances. Eventually, you're going to break that door down. But is there a different narrative around a golfer after this week? Because the Masters, unlike any other major, completely changes the narrative on somebody if they are to break through and win their first major.